This is Tales from the Cube, a podcast about call centers. The good, bad, ugly, funny, and not so funny side of what it's like to work in a call center. With your host, Cliff Tour.
Hi, and welcome. This is episode 25003, the third in our series on starting a call center. This episode will feature a look at setting up a traditional call center, what some would call a brick and mortar. Worldwide, there are 17 million people working in the industry. Call centers range in size from very small to very large. The biggest in the US is Alorica, and in Canada it's Nordia. It's not impossible to enter the industry, but it can be costly, as I've outlined in my previous episodes. This is especially true for a build involving a brick and mortar. There are two kinds of brick and mortar call centers, those where the center is built from the ground up, and the others where space is rented and assets are deployed to create the center. Note that more and more companies are now using a hybrid style, some on the site and others at home. And with the rise of tech, virtual call centers have also entered the space. So let's get into building out a brick and mortar call center. The first step is deciding what you plan to do, rent or buy the space, and build from the ground up. Most likely, as with many startups, it's going to be a rent-the-space solution. Buying space and building are costly propositions. In Canada, the cost of office space can vary widely depending on the city, location, and type of space. As of late 2023, here are some general estimates that you're going to be looking at. For Toronto, office space can range from $20 to $50 per square foot, with prime areas being on the higher end. Okay, so it's going to cost you. Vancouver, prices are similar to Toronto, typically between $25 and $45 per square foot. Montreal, more affordable, with costs ranging from $15 to $30 per square foot. Calgary offers space that can be found from $10 to $25 per square foot, reflecting a more competitive market is what their goal is there. And of course, there's the capital of Canada, Ottawa. Prices generally range from $15 to $30 per square foot. So that's going to be interesting to do. These prices can fluctuate based on demand, the condition of the building, and amenities offered. For the most accurate and current information, it's always going to be advisable to consult local real estate listings or commercial real estate agents. So you're going to get on the phone, you're going to be looking at listings here because this is something you want to make sure that you pick well. Now, the same principle applies in the United States for cities like these. In Houston, it's $31 per square foot. New York, $55. And in Los Angeles, $32 per square foot. So it's good. It's pretty big money that you're going to be putting out. Again, you will want to reach out to professionals to discuss options. You're also going to want to actually see the space and look at the location as well. Why? Things like accessible transit options, parking space, and amenities like banking and restaurants in the area are a need that must be addressed. And if you are offshoring your center, you will want to make sure you have connections with trusted, knowledgeable professionals who know the area, what buildings are suitable, and also what the labor market is like. And most importantly, what regulations you are going to have to adhere to in the host country. For the most part, you are not going to be offshoring. Okay, you're not going to be doing that right away, unless you have a lot of capital to do it. It's probably going to be wiser for you to rent a site locally and start out very small. Generally speaking, you're looking at a 5 or 10 seat center. That's going to be sufficient to get you started. The risk is still there, but it's not as high as going big. Which leads me to my most important and next point. Going with brick and mortar or virtual is fine, but do this slowly. Growth is important. Doing it too fast is dangerous and could lead to a severe financial loss for yourself. The course of growth should be over a period of time. You're looking at 2 to 4 years. That's going to be the good pace that you want to set. You are also going to want to make sure that the building you select is in good condition, managed well, and located in an area that is accessible, affordable for you and staff, and is big enough to support growth. Listen to episode 25001 to learn more about initial costing to help you get an idea of what it takes to set up a call center. I'm not going to go into building from ground up, except to say that it is different, and it's definitely going to be a ball of wax that you're going to want to really look at, because boy, is it different. In that scenario, though, you are going to have many moving parts, and costs will be a major factor. Timelines also figure into the mix. At the very least, from start to finish, your center may take up to about a year to build. For example, a house can be built in as little as 16 months here in Canada. Imagine scaling up to a big building to house a call center. Its size comparable to, say, a factory means that you're typically looking for about 20 months, almost a 2-year build-out to go forward with doing any kind of building before putting all the equipment in there. Don't forget, that's what you're going to be looking at, is those costs. Desks and other infrastructure is also going to cost you. You're looking at upwards of $375,000 for a 10-seat center. That's basically what it's going to cost you here to do this. My point in this series is this. Call centers are a good business to get into, but you will need capital, you will need to do the research, and you will need to connect with professionals to help you navigate the landscape. There is no exact number to point to for success or failure in the industry, but it is competitive, and the market will basically either lift you up or it will bring you down, and you will have to weigh the benefits and the costs of going forward and doing this. It's not cheap, and I've seen call centers, I've worked in them, that go bust in a year or two, and others like the one I'm in, be really, really successful. I mean, I've been on the campaign now. It's going to be as of August, 10 years. One campaign, 10 years. That's very, very good. Some call centers really last long, others don't, and some campaigns are very short, others will last for decades. So it's imperative that you really take this into consideration when you're going forward and building these out, because this is going to be money that you're going to spend. And if you're going to spend a couple of $1 million or even just a basic $500,000 to set up a basic a brick and mortar center, you want to ensure that your capital is well spent and that you're going to actually get your investment back, because once that money is gone, if you don't get it back, you're basically going to be walking with your tail between your legs to the bank and saying oops, and you're going to have to pay that money. It's particularly going to be money that you're going to be borrowing, so you're going to have to pay that money back. So it's imperative, really truly imperative, that you research and do more research. At the end of the day, that's going to basically influence your decision whether or not to enter the industry. My name is Cliff. Thank you very much for listening to this series and to this podcast. We are on Spotify. We are now also on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to all of the episodes at your leisure, and I thank you for engagement with us. It's really been great to see the growth in the call center industry as it pertains to the modern era, but it's even nicer to see this podcast, which talks about it, also growing too. So lots of growth everywhere. Next episode is going to be on a very, very touchy subject. We're going to be talking about tariffs. So look for that down the road. Again, my name is Cliff. Thanks again for listening to Tales from the Cube. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to Tales from the Cube. You can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, and your favorite way to get podcasts. See you in the next episode of Tales from the Cube with Cliff Tour.